Michty Maxx, and I'm here to share the makeup I wore to the very misleading movie, The Dark Tower. Don't even get me started on this movie. Either way, this makeup is an amalgamation of many elements of the Dark Tower book series, including the Dark Tower itself, the Man in Black, the Rose, and the evil in the world that has moved on. Plus, it's a delightfully dark gothic style look that I really enjoyed wearing, and it's been one of my favorites in quite a while. So I started as usual with some Too Faced Shadow Insurance to prime all around the eyes and out to the temples. Next, the brow bone gets a helping of Inglot number 111R Lightest Peach Shadow with a chubby brush. And I swirled in the medium and darkest peach shadows with a Sigma E25 blending brush to start the transition through the crease. To deepen that up, I dipped into Kat Von D Clementine of the Pastel Goth palette and thrust that through the crease over the top and winged out that socket, blending it out as I go. Then to get the rose red shade started up, I have Urban Decay Slow Burn Shadow on the Sigma E32 Exact Blend brush, and I'm pushing that up under the front of my brow, squaring it off, building the color up and blending it out softly halfway across my upper crease. To get it buffed in real good, I used the deeper peach across at all edges with the softer blending brush and took the neon red further down the nose bridge with the more dense shader till I'm ready to move on to the next color. And here is the Melt Cosmetics eyeshadow in Radon, another neon red shade with a more orange tint to it, and I took that across the rest of the socket and wicked it up into a swoop at the outer edge. I took it farther out past the tail of my eyebrow and blended that fiery shade out and upwards with some peach shades, along with a little light peach to taper down the shape. I went back to the slow burn shadow with the Zoeva 231 Luxe Petite Crease brush to run that through the deeper socket and joining it down to the inner point. To beef up the color, I took the Love Plus eyeshadow from Sugar Pill with the same pointed blending brush and plunged the true rose red into the deep crease. I followed the shape I had previously created with the lighter shadows, allowing it to swoop and flick over my eyes. I went back to the dense blender brush to pack on some more Radon at the top of the crease to blend it all together and kept adding some Love Plus to the concoction. To finish off that socket potion, I picked out the tincture of Makeup Geek Bitten and dipped the end of the pointed petite crease brush into the deep crease line to define the lower portion and follow that sloping flicked shape. I merged that burgundy into the red by patting on some Love Plus with the dense brush and then went back to Bitten, but chose a fluffier yet smaller brush in the Sigma E36 blending brush to pull that shade up into the rest. I smoothed out that gradient using the same tiny fluffy brush and more red eyeshadow and coaxed the red swoop further out. I made sure to keep the very peak of the brow clean with the lightest peach shade, and I wiped off a little fallout underneath the eyes. Now onto the lid, and I have the blackest gel eyeliner from Inglot in number 77, which I'm using as an eyeshadow base, smeared on with a cotton bud and my finger. I even used a synthetic eyeshadow brush to ease out the shape to follow the red section, but not worrying about being perfectly sharp, because eyeshadows will follow. And the first eyeshadow is the Makeup Geek shade in Corrupt, and I patted that on with the same short eyeshadow brush from the My Brush Set website people. When I got up to the seam between the two colors, I buffed a little black over the edge and then went on to some more Bitten on the pointed blending brush from before and rubbed that over the juncture. I took some more black to merge over the burgundy, but I didn't want to take that up too high or smooth out the gradient too far. I wanted a quick change from black to red, but without a sharp line, just fuzzed out a little. Now is the time to clean up the under eye area, inner points and lower edge of the wings with a makeup wipe to make them sharp and reasonably even. I quickly added more primer to the lower lid, and then I decided to define that black winged point with some more gel eyeliner on a fine brush, just to sharpen up the point and make sure along the lashes is a solid black. I used the same product to coat the waterlines and tight lines with Mr. Pointy all the way around the eye, and scrubbed a little product into the lash line with the Real Techniques detail brush for a dark gel base. I'm buffing it out with a cotton bud underneath and joining it up to the inner point and up towards the winged edge at the corner of the eye with the eyeliner brush to complete the form. To set that gel and finalize the blackened state, I have more Corrupt from Makeup Geek on that detailed brush. I dabbed on that solidly and buffed it underneath to join to the outer wing. I used the pointed brush to blend it slightly and then added some black shadow to fuzz out the edge and flick out with the wicked curves. Speaking of curving up, I went at my lashes with this torture device and coated the upper eyeball hairs with CoverGirl Clump Crusher mascara, and the lower lashes got a good shellacking with MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash Mascara too. I decided the lower lash line needed a little more punch, and I started buffing under that with the tiny E36 blending brush, and then delved into some more Makeup Geek Bitten to take that lower lid down really far, giving a sickly tinge raked under the eye. I took a mixed concoction of Bitten and Corrupt to sweep under the eye for more darkness and spookiness, joining it up to the enlarging wings. To buff that out further, I fled to the peach eyeshadows and ran them under with the blending brush. I didn't want to reduce the burgundy tint under the eye, so I swiped the tiny blending brush along the edge too. I'll come back to this part after I do my face to get the shadow down as low as I want it. For a little eyebrow action, I applied the powder of the Urban Decay Brow Box in Bathwater Blonde, leaving the tails of my eyebrows alone as they are already covered in shadow anyway, and I swooped some NYX Tinted Brow Mascara through the hairs to set them in place. I set about preparing my face with MAC Strobe Cream in Peach Light for an underlying glow, adding a little extra on the high points of the face, staving off any dry desert skin. And to exaggerate that effect, I have the NARS Illuminator in Copacabana to dab on the cheekbones, nose and forehead, along with a glob above my gob and touch on the chin, which I pressed into the skin with a dampened beauty blender, adding extra to the outer edges of the face. I spread some of the L'Oreal Lumi Magique Pure Light Primer on the rest of my cheeks and such with my fingers to allow a little sweat on the brow glow there too. Now onto foundation, and I'm taking the Bourjois Healthy Mix Foundation in 51 Light Vanilla first and dotting that sporadically over the face, and then spotting the Body Shop Lightening Shade Adjusting drops in between those to add the deathly pallor I am going for in this look. I spritzed on some MAC Fix Plus to help the medicine go down and pressed that combination into the skin with the damp beauty blender once again. I avoided the top of the forehead and faded the face makeup out there because I was wearing a hat and hate getting foundation on the inner band. I powdered the face with some Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Ethereal Light, mainly under the eyes and the center of the face, also helping to fade out the top of the forehead. Now the Dose of Colors Baked Highlighter in Pearl Dust is here to jazz up the cheekbones further, and I slopped some onto the center of the face, giving a healthy dose to the nose for an even more ethereal, spooky glow. To lighten that up, I swirled on some Jeffree Star Skin Frost in Crystal Ball so the skin wouldn't turn too pink, but still let it shine bright. I swirled my blush brush into the NYX Ombre Blush in Sweet Spring and layered on the warm pink shade from Apples to Temples across my cheeks. And to warm up the color, I added a layer of MAC My Paradise blush further at the backs of the cheeks to match the red shadow on the eyes a little better. Speaking of the eyes, I have more bitten on the tiny E36 blending brush, and after pulling that lower down, I also added some Corrupt into the mix. I smoothed out the edges with the light peach and drew it down under my eye circles, really pulling it low for an extremely gothic touch. I blended it into the cheek highlight and added more Crystal Ball to my nose with my digit. I decided at the last minute to slide a bit of the NYX blush in taupe under the cheekbones for a gaunt appearance, and brushing a little down the sides of the nose, plus above the temples. And I blended in that contour with some more of the warmer blush. I spotted on my beauty mark with an eyebrow pencil as it was covered with all that foundation. To melt the powders into the skin, I sprayed on some MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus, and that removes the powdery nature of the products, and I made sure to fan it dry quickly. Then I fixed all that in place with the Urban Decay All-Nighter Setting Spray to finalize the skin, taking use of that fan again. I cleaned off my lips from the lip balm and slid on some MAC Prep and Prime Lip Base to prepare them. To start off the lip color, I have the Sugar Pill Pretty Poison lipstick in Nurse, which I'm applying to the center of the lip area, keeping to the angled Cupid's bow I prefer. I used the Makeup Forever pencil in 8C to shore up the shape on the lower edge and the pointed Cupid's bow on the top. Now onto the corners. I have another Sugar Pill Pretty Poison lipstick called Zero, and I joined the black shade up to the red. I have the Makeup Geek Full Spectrum Liner in Obsidian to line those corners, and I spent some time to blend the seams, chewing the cud and also providing an extra layer of red lipstick to take those two contrasting shades towards a bit of a gradient. I further used the black eyeliner and also the detailed brush I used on the eyes to caress the black and red together, finishing off with brightening the center with more red for a gradient lip in a monochrome likeness of the eyes. And that's the end of that chapter. I love red and black, and since this look includes my two favorite colors to combine, I certainly enjoyed wearing this makeup. And I really felt like going balls out dramatic because I hadn't let that part of myself off the leash in some time. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this dark and mysterious tutorial, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Also check out my band and podcast on iTunes. And if you want to send me a letter or something, I have my PO box in the description box.